The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Clackamas, Oregon, on your new apparatus, job number 30007. Please utilize this job number when referencing your new apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. I have a few side views for you to look at, just to get a general idea of where things are located. You just saw the passenger side, and then here's the passenger and rear side. Let's go ahead and start down at the front bumper of your apparatus. Starting at the very base of your bumper, you can see you have 3 2x2 access points for your winch and also electronic 12-volt access. Moving up to the very top, you can see you have an electronic siren. You have dual air horns. You have 2 closed attachment points forward facing just in the front bumper area. And then you also have a mechanical siren. On the very top, you can see that you have a valve location for your electronic valve, and also in the front you have bumper storage for hose. Let's go ahead and move up onto the body of your apparatus. You can see you have a right and left turn indicator. Moving just inward of that location, this is the headlight cluster. You have a low beam and high beam, and up from that location you'll find your emergency warning lights. Located in the center, you have a MARS light. You also have 2 forward-facing grab wheels, exterior mirrors, convex and flat, running lights at the very top, 2 fixed forward-facing lights at the top. Located at the very top is your light bar. Just located inside the light bar in the very center is your opticom. And then at the top there are also right and left go lights, which are your movable spotlights. Here's some close-ups of those images we just talked about. You can see at the base your code 3 siren, air horn, and also the attachment point. And also just underneath that, the 3 individual attachment points for your winch. All of the ratings for each one of those attachment points is clearly identified just underneath. This is the location. This is a cover for your foam water discharge. And just underneath it, this is the electronic valve, which is an Akron valve. Looking just inside the center standout compartment here, once the cover is open, you can see that you have a 1.5-inch swivel discharge port. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side of the bumper of the rig. You can see that there is, at the very top on this side and also on the opposite side, side-facing lights. In addition, with the bottom, some warning lights, and also an attachment point for your winch, and then also the electrical control attachment for your winch. Here's an images of the side cluster, which houses the turn indicator, running light, and also your front headlights. Close up here of that center mounted turning light. Generalized view here of the windshields in addition with the lights on the very top. As we look closer at the lights on top, you can see just mounted inside the light bar, this is going to be your opticom forward facing. Looking at the above portion of the lighting above the cab, you can see your warning lights in addition with side facing and also at an angle facing fixed floodlights. Let's go ahead and take a look just underneath this front door on the passenger and driver side.
And also we'll take a look at the passenger and driver side mirrors. Looking at the mirror, you'll see at the very top you have a flat portion mirror, and at the bottom third this is going to be a convex portion. Located in the step area, you'll find this drops down. You'll have also step lights in the lower section, and then just above there are also additional step lights. Just underneath this step there are also perimeter lighting. Taking a look at the wheel and tire assembly, you can also look in the very center. You have the Stemco seal hub. This has fluid within inside and a level that you can indicate if it needs to have service. Looking at your auto eject, this is a 30 amp shore inlet power. It is an auto eject plug. As you look to the right of that, you also would notice that you had your air chuck. Looking at the very top, you can see this is the passenger side. You have fixed lighting, side facing, and at the very top your go light, which is your spotlight on both the right and left hand side front section of your apparatus. This is an image of the air inlet. At the very top, you can see that you have a side-facing flood, in addition with the logo just underneath that. Down in the lower section on the passenger side and on the driver's side, you have an additional compartment. The compartment has lighting within inside. Generalized view here, taking a look at the side of the apparatus. This is with the front door open and the steps deployed. As we look closer behind the rear seat of the driver, you'll find this additional bar. This is for your cab tilt. Also located on the door itself, you'll find at every entry point warning labels regarding use of seat belts. Let's go ahead and take a look just inside the cab. You'll find a caution label and a warning label. The caution label is for the use of damaged equipment and to make sure you check your service manual prior to doing anything. The next one down is a diesel emissions. This is for problems associated with diesel exhaust. On the right, you'll find your Pierce logo, which houses your VIN number, job number, date of manufacture, and all of your fluid capacities and weight capacities. On the driver's side seat, you'll find you'll have an air ride seat. The adjustment is located on the right-hand side, along with adjustments to the tilt front and back. On the floorboard, you'll find a mechanical siren at the left foot level. Looking up onto the actual left knee area, you'll find the quarter turn red battery switch. This is also the location of your regen inhibit, ABS diagnostic, engine diagnostic. These are the display ports and also modules for service. Moving up from that, you'll find your window controls. This is going to be a set of 4 switches for control of all windows. Each individual window other than that has an individual control. There are also 2 locations for future switch locations. Moving over to the right-hand side about knee height, this is the interaxle differential lock. There is also an indicator light indicating that it is in the locked position when it is illuminated. Let's go ahead and move up from this location. You'll find your OK high idle indicator and then the switch for OK to engage the high idle. Looking at your cluster here on the dash, you have your transmission oil, DEF, and water on the left-hand side, close to the tachometer. On the other side, miles per hour, speedometer, you have your volts, fuel, front and rear air. On the left-hand side of the steering column, you'll have your ignition, start switch, and also your hazard or 4-way flashers. You also have the emergency master, headlights, and panel lights. Moving just to the right, this is going to be right of the operator. You'll find your Pierce command zone. A tremendous amount of information here just at your fingertips. You can scroll through that and familiarize yourself with that. There's also a set of panel rocker switches. Let's take a look at those next. Starting in the upper right-hand corner, this is going to be your PTO for the generator. You have an air tool PTO, your tire chains, differential lock, rear suspension dump. And as we move down, you have engine on-off brake, controls for high, medium, and low, mirror heat, and also your on-offs for your CAFS system. There's also some caution labels underneath about disengaging your retarder on wet and slippery surfaces. This is going to be your Allison transmission pad with a digital readout in the very center. As we move just to the right of the Allison transmission pad, you'll find an additional placard. This placard houses information on the operation of starting and stopping your generator, and also the information referring to the operational manual regarding your generator. To the right of this location, you'll find you have your mirror control. The top one here is for your flat mirrors. That'd be the upper portion of the mirror. And then the next one down to the right would be for your convex, and that is for right and left also. Located in the center, you'll find this large yellow pull to apply the parking system brakes and push to release. Let's go ahead and move overhead. This is going to be overhead of the operator. You'll find your code 3 control. This is going to be the electronic siren control, and this is also your public announcement PA system for volume and also the microphone. Moving down or slightly to the right, you'll find your stereo, all-weather band stereo. In addition, with Go Light control, you'll have your climate control, and then as you can see, a future location for any other component. And on the right in the silver area, you'll have a 12 volt, and at the very bottom, USB 12 volt. Also located in this area is your traffic advisor. Located next to the traffic advisor down on the front of the dash area, you'll find the controls for the Go Light. This is going to be an on-off switch. Once it's in the on position, you'll find the red indicator light will illuminate. And to the left, you can find the control. This is the control that will control the two lights that are single individually lights on the top of your apparatus. The lower section is your climate control. You can see gray is the heat and defrost, red is heat, and the blue is the AC. To the right of that, you have two 12 volt access. The very top is going to be barrel style, the round style plug. And at the very bottom section, you'll see an additional 12 volt. This is two USB attachment points here for 12 volt access, USB style. Overhead of the operator, you'll find a couple of different switches. You're also going to find an important placard and also the control for the driver's side Go Light. Let's talk about that placard in the upper left-hand corner. It's yellow in color. It offers information regarding height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. Let's also talk about your switches here. You have an emergency master, roof lights, front warning, side warning, lower warning, upper warning, your Opticom, and your roto ray. You also have switches here for your air horn, siren brake, the Zyco scene lights, which are rear facing for the rear duals. You have GH scene lights, front scene, driver's side, passenger side, and rear scene. Moving to the right of that location over the operator's head, you also have the driver's side alley and passenger side alley, perimeter lights currently in green, and the load manager, which is currently on, and then 4 future locations for switches. To the right of that, you'll find that located in the very center. This is a light when indicated and lit. It's indicating that do not move your apparatus, that there is a compartment open. Just beneath that, you'll find your Pierce seatbelt information, green for seatbelted, red for not seatbelted. Looking to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find 4 seats, 2 center SCBA seats, and 2 fold-down seats on each side. And also above that, you'll find attachment points for your headsets for your communication system. General view here of the door. As we also look from the passenger side in, your vehicle has, once again, at every entry point, that warning label. Looking at the passenger seat, you'll find this is an air ride seat. This is to increase or decrease the pressure for comfort. And this front seat is also an SCBA seat that houses an SCBA in the back of it. Overhead, you have 2 pull ropes. In addition, push on, push off red and white lights. Let's talk a little bit about your fire comm system. This is the control module for it. Just beneath that, you'll find the wireless control module. Moving in front of the passenger, you'll find you have a glove box just beneath the grab handle. As you look further down at the floorboard area, you'll find your mechanical siren. This is a foot pedal. As you move to the right-hand side, about knee height, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wipers. All the way to the left on the dash, you'll find 3 additional points of interest. First one we'll talk a little bit about is going to be the siren brake at the very top. This is a push button. Just beneath it, a barrel style 12 volt access point. To the very front, this is for service. This is your vehicle data recorder port. And as we look to the side of the apparatus sitting in the passenger seat, We'll take a look at some of the components here just to get you a generalized view here of what's happening. Let's go ahead and move just now to the side behind each seat. You'll find a short outlet power. They're 15 amp, 120 VAC. Also looking inside the rear section of the apparatus, you'll find a compartment normally where a jump seat would be. In this case, you'll find this compartment. Behind this compartment, once this door is open, let's talk about some of the components there. As we look inside the compartment, you'll find a compressor for your entire air system here for brakes. As you can see, the right and left seats are fold down style seats, jump seats. And as we look in the very center between the rear facing seats, you'll find this access door. When this access door is open, you'll find it for your daily checks for engine oil and transmission checks. Generalized view looking from those rear seats facing forward. We'll talk about some of the components here. Let's first start in the area near the driver's seat. Behind it, you'll find your 12-volt battery charger when plugged into shore power. You can see the fan on the very top. It accesses controls in this compartment in the very front of it. Located in the upper section of this compartment is a refrigerator, and just overhead, you'll find overhead compartments that have lights inside each of them. This is going to be a small compartment underneath the two forward-facing SCBA seats. Once you access that, you'll find that this compartment does not have lighting within inside. Let's go ahead and move back outside the apparatus. Looking in, you can see the black section at the very top. That is the refrigerator, and the lower portion is a storage compartment. This is also where you'd access that 12-volt charger, which when you're plugged into shore power, and also the S1 shore power breaker box. Let's go ahead and move back outside of your apparatus. We'll talk about some of the compartments here and some of the controls down in the lower section down at the very bottom. First, I want to point you down to the exhaust sticker on the right-hand side here. This is in regard to warning where you park because of hot temperatures. On the left-hand side, you can see you have an air outlet, in addition with perimeter lighting, your wheel chock location, and also drain ports. There's the sticker regarding the hot exhaust. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the compartment. Just up from that, you can see the left compartment here and the right compartment both have roll-out or pull-out drawers. The first compartment in the very front has a full width or through compartment, the middle shelf, and also pull out, pull down style shelves on the upper section. This shelf is going to be pull out, pull down, and it also accesses an air hose and also an air hose regulator. Let's take a look at this. You can see inside currently behind the rollers is your 3/4 inch, 150 feet air hose. This is going to be the air reel rewind. Once again, that utility air for tools from 0 to 175, 150 feet, 3/4 inch. This is going to be your filtering system. This is on the left-hand side of the compartment. There's also an air chuck that comes out at the very bottom of this compartment also. Looking in the compartment here, you'll find the drawers down at the very bottom, and then additionally a pull-out shelf in the midsection. And at the very top was your air hose. Here's going to be an image of those toolboxes or storage bins. It's going to be a generalized view here of the duals. Let's talk about some of the compartments within the housing area. First, let's start in the upper left-hand corner. This is going to be your 4.5 US gallon DEF tank in a blue cap. Just behind that, this is going to be those Zyco side-facing lights. You'll have two locations for bottle storage here, and just beneath that, additional lighting. Moving to the rear, you'll find your diesel fuel for ultra-low sulfur, silver cap. Generalized view here with those 2 compartment doors open. You can see tool boards and also additional electrical equipment and lighting. We'll talk about those compartments individually. Let's go ahead and move now to the next compartment in the back. You can see you have a pull-out drawer in this location. And then let's go down to the very base area. You'll find your 12-volt access point for power, in addition with the location for your air chuck. And then just to the left of the air chuck, you'll find the 2x2-inch winch point and attachment. General view here of the rear compartment, adjustable shelves, lights inside. This compartment here houses a plug. That plug powers this remote for the awning on the left-hand side of your apparatus. You can see that here. To gain access to that awning, if there is some sort of an issue with the motor, there is an additional location here for attachment points to go ahead and manually retract. Just beneath this location in the compartment, you'll find an additional location with a regulator and also a gauge to regulate air power in the air pressure in the very back. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus. The cluster on the left is going to be your reverse, turn, and brake, in addition with backup lights. You have 2 detachable tripod style lights, in addition with generated power floodlights to the rear and 12-volt power lights. At the very top of the apparatus, you'll find 2 additional attachment points. Just underneath those attachment points, there are also some warning labels regarding the use of those attachment points. In the very back, you'll find your traffic advisor. Let's go ahead and cover some of the components within this area here. Once again, starting at the left, you found the right and left turn indicators, brake clusters, but at the very bottom section, you'll find a variety of different attachment points for your winches and also 12-volt supply. Here's a close-up of that top with the attachment points and the 2 floodlight locations. As we move to the center, you'll find your folding ladder to gain access to the roof area. Here's the right side. You can see that those tripod style lights are plugged in and can be moved from their current location and stretched out and then utilized for additional power. Those are 15 amp plugs, both in the very back. There are 2 of them on each side. There is also an air dump and a rear scene light indicator here for your switches, and also a warning label regarding the use and riding on a vehicle while in motion. Let's go ahead and take a look just underneath. This is going to be the very rear of the apparatus. There is an additional pull-out step in this location. As we look closer at the driver's side rear section, this is the license plate mount, in addition with just a close-up of that attachment point for your 12-volt power, in addition with the towing. Each one of those points has a maximum towing capacity or winching capacity. All right, we're now looking at the rear of the apparatus. You can see you have a roll-up door. Inside this location are adjustable shelves. Moving to the side of the apparatus, let's take a look behind some of these control doors. Once again, at the very bottom area, you have an additional attachment point, slightly different weight ratings, but also that same 12-volt access. Looking inside the compartment, you can see the top shelf as a pull-out drops down, a shelf that pulls out underneath at the very bottom, and a fixed adjustable shelf in the center. Let's go ahead and move just to the forward section here. You'll find the same configuration as you did on the opposite side. You have your electrical reel in addition with tool boards that pull out. Let's take a look at some of the smaller access doors. This is going to be a diesel fill location. Silver cap once again. There are also 2 locations between the duals. These are 2 locations for bottle storage or SCBA bottles. You can also see your Zyco lights, and also lower down you'll see a marker turn indicator. Generalized view here of the side, you can see the through compartment again. At the very base you have additional storage locations, and you also have an air hose location that comes out from this area moving to the very bottom. This is that utility air hose. It's for tools from 0 to 175 psi, 150 feet in length, 3/4 inch. Just underneath the cab section here, you'll find a storage location underneath the main body. In the through compartment, you'll find once again shore power here. This is going to be a 15 amp plug, and it's also available for shore generator outlet and also shore power. These are those custom storage containers. And as we look just forward to that, you can see an additional pull-out tool location pegboard style, and also a drop-down shelf. Let's talk a little bit about some of the components within this compartment. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, there is your Cummins Onan generator. This is going to be your electrical component. This is also the G1 location for your breaker box for generator 1, and also the control for your retractable awnings. This is also the location for starting and stopping your air compressor. You can see here it's the PTO location for at the very top, the green switches. You also have your cab lift instructions in here, and also your recycling time or location timer here for battery chargers. Down underneath you'll find air and also overflow and bleeders, and also your agent tank drain. As we continue to look underneath the apparatus, you'll also find it has chains that are deployable from the dash. A couple more general views of your apparatus for Clackamas Fire. Congratulations on your new heavy rescue, job number 30007. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any questions as to the information that was provided to you, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations and good luck with your new heavy rescue. Thank you.